Ah, right. I'm back. The RCMP thing is supposed to be starting in the next moment or two. Um, I am going to see if I can. Hang on. I'm going to turn this off, go to the Mac Mini, so that unfortunately I can't get the audio working on this yet, or I haven't got the audio working on this yet. I'm not sure why, somewhere along the line. My computer doesn't want to talk to my computer, or one program on my computer doesn't want to talk to another program on my computer. Um, I did go and manage to get myself some food. Here's a peanut butter sandwich. Sorry if I'm eating while I'm doing this. Mm. The AirPods Pro are picking things up. So you're listening to me crunching. Here. There. I've moved it over to the mic over here. I'm going to turn my heat off. And um, yeah, so right now I am waiting for the press conference to start. Um, I was going to mention, oh, yeah, one of the things that I've known but haven't mentioned is that the schools are both closed for the rest of the week. So I know if you have students that are supposed to be at those schools, you know this already. But for the people out there who don't know this, um, that's what's happening. Actually, the YMCA is apparently closed today too, um, mostly because parents are keeping their kids home. We are just waiting for the press conference with the RCMP to start. I have it um, up on my screen. Oh, hey, I am uh, streaming my live video, not just to you, but also to the press conference. So right now, everybody's looking at me talking like I'm a maniac because the mic is muted over there and they can't hear me. So, hmm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's 9 media on a page, and there are 12 pages of media for this press conference. So um, a lot of people interested. Oh, here we go. Um, I'm going to get the sound off here to there. So as you can see, they have, oh, that was actually a report. I didn't see what it is, what it said. Um, okay, so they've gone full screen on this, but they haven't started. What I was saying there with 12 pages of media, there is at least 100 uh, media on this call. So There's also a small chance that the audio will go to my headphones. Here, we don't have to watch this. There's a small chance that the audio will go to my headphones. So if that happens, I'll scramble and get the audio working. But again, like I say, the two I've got a program that's designed to do this, and it's not that it isn't working properly. It's just that I haven't had time to, figure out which button to push to make sure that the audio from the computer goes into the comes basically goes to you. So, oh, here we have people arriving at the stage.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming. And I recognize the significant interest not only the media but the public have in this event, so I will endeavor to do my best to inform you as up to date as possible and to provide some information moving forward about how we will manage our communications. I'll just start with a review of the incident from yesterday. So, on February 10th at approximately 1:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Tumbler Ridge, RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. A police-initiated public alert (PIPA) was issued as officers released from Tumbler Ridge RCMP and surrounding detachments responded immediately, with members from the local detachment arriving within 2 minutes of the initial call. Upon arrival, there was active gunfire, and as officers approached the school, rounds were fired in their direction. Officers entered the school to locate the threat, with an individual confirmed to be the shooter was located deceased with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot. Suspect has been identified as 18-year-old Jesse Van Rootselaar, who is a resident of Tumbler Ridge. 2 firearms, a long gun and a modified handgun, were recovered by officers. Determining the origin of these firearms and what role they played in the shooting remains a significant part of the active and ongoing investigation. Multiple victims were located throughout the school, along with approximately 25 individuals with possible injuries. Once it was determined, officers evacuated over 100 students and faculty to a local community center, while police continued to assess whether any ongoing threats remained. Those with potential injuries were transported to the local medical clinic for triage and assessment, and 2 victims with significant injuries were transported to hospital via air ambulance. Following a medical assessment of the individuals, no discernible physical injuries were identified for those that remained at the scene. I'd like to correct some information that was shared yesterday and to clarify that 9 people in total are deceased as a result of this incident. Initially, it was believed that it was a female with significant injuries who was transported from the scene by our members and then transitioned to paramedics had succumbed to her injuries. Police have since confirmed that is not the case. She is alive and was one of the 2 female victims that were airlifted to the hospital. Both of those victims remain vision. The deceased victims from the school include an adult female educator, 3 female students, and 2 male students between the ages of 13 and 17. 2 additional victims, an adult female and a male youth, were located deceased. BC Major Crime Unit has assumed conduct of the investigation and is working to determine the full circumstances surrounding this tragic incident. There's been much speculation within the community regarding the relationship between the shooter and some of the victims. All of that remains part of ongoing investigation. We are not in a position to publicly confirm any specifics at this time. Additional resources have been deployed to Town Government to support both the investigation and day-to-day policing operations, which continue with the assistance of our neighboring detachments. BC Emergency Health Services, the Fire Department, the local medical center, the school district, the community center, and many others within the community provided significant support throughout this response. Anyone in the community who does not need support, who does need support, is asked to go to the Tumbler Ridge Community Center at 3 Fours Front Street. We understand the community has questions, and we understand they want to know the motive behind this tragic incident. We do believe the suspect acted alone. There are currently no other outstanding suspects. Our investigators remain on scene, active information to determine the full circumstances of what transpired. This is a deeply distressing incident where 9 individuals have senselessly lost their lives. Thoughts with the families, the loved ones, the first responders in the greater Tumbler Ridge community, and all those impacted by this incident. If you have questions, I'm prepared to take them at this time.
Officer Rita Deo from Global News, could you please expand a little bit on the suspect? Was he known to police? Are there any red flags regarding his mental health?
This is identified as an 18-year-old female by the name of Jessie. We have a history of police attendants, family residents. Some of those calls were related to mental health issues.
Could you spell the suspect?
Yes. The first name is spelled Jesse. The surname is spelled capital VAN, space, capital ROOTSELAAR.
Were the 2 victims found at the residence where the suspect lived?
Yes.
And why can't you elaborate on the relationship between the victims and in that residence? And
I can't elaborate on that. So it is believed the victims of that residence and the suspect are family members.
can you say what parent sibling, what relationship that is?
Yes, the female adult is the mother of the suspect, and the youth male is the brother of the suspect, or stepbrother.
Can you expand? You talked about a history of mental health with this female suspect. Could you expand on that?
I'll give you perhaps maybe some general comments on that. Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions I was apprehended for assessment and follow.
So apprehended under the Mental Health Act?
Yes.
Taken to hospital?
Some circumstances, yes.
Any indication whether or not the suspect was receiving any help for their mental health situation regarding any of those services that are involved?
I don't have that information at this time. If the suspect was currently receiving care, I don't have that information.
And any of the interactions with police, did any of them have to do with weapons, guns
Yes.
in particular?
Yes.
Could you expand on that, please?
I will say that, again, not trying to be too circumspect, but police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned that to be returned in the court.
Were criminal charges laid in relation to those firearms?
So what's my West with FYI media? My question is, we've heard all around the world, reports coming out from different media, not local but world, and we've heard people from Tumbler Ridge, actually people that know the leader, and they are all saying that this person is transgender. Why is the RCMP not speaking to this? Why are we hiding this from them?
Well, first off, thank you for your question. We're not hiding it. In fact, you're the first media to ask the question. I will say this, we identified the suspect as they chose to be identified in public and in social media. I can say that Lauren is a biological male who approximately, the information that I have, approximately 6 years ago began to transition to female and identified as female, both socially and publicly.
Unfortunately, we've heard a lot of transgender and mass school shootings. Do you think there's a correlation here?
To say whether that has any correlation in this investigation, I think it's important to recognize that this investigation is still in its infancy. We have seen still lockdown in school and the residence while we execute search warrants and gather further evidence and talk to witnesses that may have further evidence for police.
Tell us about the WebTP.
I'm just wondering, can you tell me when these prior to yesterday last in contact with Jesse?
It's a good question. I probably have that answer somewhere here in my papers, but I believe we're there sometime last year.
But nothing in the last few days.
In the last few days, that's correct.
Okay, and you talked about the guns that were recovered. And can you say anything about who owned those guns, whether he had any sort of
So I will say this, I know the guns are of significant interest to everybody. Part of the reason why the specific models of the firearms or ownership is because at this point in time, our investigators continue to pursue those leads. We want to make sure that the information we do provide is accurate. We want to ensure that we can identify properly the ownership of the firearms, how they were procured, whether they were lawfully owned, whether they were manufactured, whether there could be any other parties to the offense that we are not yet aware of. So when we are able to release that information, we certainly would.
he was quite young. Did he have a license?
I can say that she had a license hired. I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered to her.
Can you talk about, sir, any indication in the information you have regarding Jesse experiencing bullying at the school, any sort of difficulty at the school because of this transition from male to female?
I do not have any information to suggest that was the case. I can say that Jesse dropped out of school approximately 4 years ago and was not currently attending school.
Sir, here from Jared from the Western Standard. They wanted to just know why we waited until now to confirm the identity of the suspect.
It's a good question. I know it's one of concern, specifically with the speed of social media. I think it's important to realize that yesterday, when we first provided a media availability, it was approximately 5 hours after the active shooter event. At that point in time, we were still trying to lock down locations. We had victims we were evacuating. As you can imagine, the scene was quite chaotic with significant amount of trauma. And it's just when we do release information to get it accurate. I point to the case of now having to correct and say that there's only 9 deceased persons instead of 10. We want to get information out as quick as possible, but we also appreciate that information needs to be accurate because, particularly when we're dealing with victims or dealing with the identity of the suspect, we have consideration. In this case, our suspect was deceased. We had to locate next of kin to notify them. So I would hate, notwithstanding the public interest, I would hate for someone to find out that their loved one is deceased, coming from our podium or coming from the news media in advance of being told.
And I have one other question here from Ruth with Energetic C. Was the suspect related to anyone in school?
I can say that the suspect was not related to any of the victims of the school. I don't have any broader information beyond that, other than say that the suspect was related to the 2 victims.
Did the suspect leave a note or any other communication in advance of this happening?
Not that we've located so far, but we are continuing to pursue that.
So are you able to give us sort of what the police's working theory is on why this happened?
Well, we don't have an idea yet. And again, recognize recognizing we're still less than 24 hours into this incident, it is something that we are certainly passionately pursuing. But it would be too early to speculate on both at this point.
Was there a poll put out to be on the lookout for prior to the shootings regarding the suspect?
Not that I'm aware of, but once the shootings commenced, we did issue the public police alert.
And did police open fire on the suspect?
Well, police did not return fire to the best of my knowledge, but went into the school.
Where in the school the victims killed?
There was one victim that was located deceased in the hallway, in the stairwell of the school, and the others were located, I believe, in the library. So,
Can you comment on the home of the shooter? Was it in disarray? Sometimes when there's some sort of certain things you can see in a home, was there anything like that apparent?
I can't comment yet on the nature or the environment of the family home. It was locked down originally for to secure a search warrant in order to allow our investigators to go in. So I can't comment at this point.
Can you tell us the route of the, like, where the two people found deceased?
I do have that information. It will be locked down, so I would respectfully ask members of the media and the public not to attend the scene at the family home because we have a lot going on there, but it's on 2 Feathers Avenue in Tumblr Ridge.
Were there additional firearms or weapons found during the search?
I don't have that information at this point in time. I can say that historically there were firearms that were secured at that residence. But I haven't different investigators yet to determine that they've gone and located firearms.
You talked about the police being called to the school about the shooting. Were they called to the home before that?
Yes, no, they were called after. So we understand the sequence of events, and I'll get to it. So we did not receive a call to attend the home until approximately 2:47 p.m. or 1:47 Pacific time. We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that went to the neighbors. And that's how we learned that there were 2 deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police. You know, the sequence of events now is that the incident at the home occurred first, 2 deceased family members, and from there, our suspect attended the school and commenced criminal activity there.
What was the relationship of the child who alerted the neighbor to the victims of the suspect?
Family member.
The reunification process been completed for the injured and
For the students, and so most of the what I would call injured individuals or people that were assessed for injury were released right in Tumblr Ridge shortly after receiving triage and or treatment. Those that have been medevac, I can't speak to that, but I don't know whether they've been contact with the family. We're still dealing with extended family of those that are deceased.
Do police believe, based on the information back thus far, that suspect had gone into the school specifically targeting an individual, or it was a rape?
So we don't have information at this point to suggest that anyone was specifically targeted. I will say that as we continue an investigation, there is further evidence to gather from the school with respect to surveillance and that other officers as well.
What can we expect with the victim IDs? Will the RCMP be named? What status are you at with the family notification?
So we're currently ongoing with family notification. I will say, as I mentioned before, that most of our victims are quite young. Most were born, not the students, most were born in 2013, 2012. So as you can imagine, for a family member, friends and family, this is very so we'll deal with and work with the families and cooperate with in terms of the release of the identities of the victims, photographs, and the like. We need to approach this with a trauma. We don't want to create additional trauma for families that are dealing with probably the worst circumstances of their lives.
So some victims may not be named, or that will be up to the families.
That will be up to the families as they're members.
In terms of the 25 people who were injured, how many of them sustained gunshot wounds?
So of the surviving individuals, two that are currently airlifted, the majority of the rest were not gunshot injuries. The reason they were all examined in triage in first instance is there were a lot that presented with injury, et cetera, that weren't actually injured, but we had to look through all that.
What kind of injuries were they? Was it like glass or?
I don't want to speculate on the exact details, but you can imagine in a chaotic situation where the students and faculty are barricading themselves in a room, that any types of injuries could present.
Were there any, you mentioned that there weren't any recent involvement with police and the suspect, but were there any calls, concerns by anyone in the public in police about the suspect in recent days, weeks, months?
The most recent incidents I have were from spring of last year, so we've checked our places, user databases, et cetera. I don't have any information that there's been anything since then.
And could you give us some context of the spring of last year?
Similar to what I said before, with concerns regarding health, self-harm, those types of concerns.
Okay, we'll take two final questions.
Just to clear, injured, so was it 7 injured in total and 2 airlifted 25?
So I
The 2.
don't mean to smile, but to clarify that, I'm going to say I'm not entirely certain because we have injured from gunshot wounds. We have deceased and we have those that were triaged at scene. I'm going to say that the 25 at scene are separate from those that were airlifted and considered.
And sir, we just have one other question here regarding the victims. The ones that were airlifted, do we have any updates on their status at this point?
Critical to statement.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Correct. One thing that just came in as sir was up here speaking. So for the deceased victims, the school, a 39-year-old female educator, 3 12-year-old female students, 2 male students ages 12 and 13, and then the 2 additional victims were a 39-year-old female and an 11-year-old male that were located deceased at the local residence. We will be issuing it shortly following this availability.
Right. Maybe I should have left my hat on. Here, let me put my toque back on. Because, vanity thy name is. Man. So there you go. We have a shooter identified. The 25 injuries were not gunshot wounds. There were oh man, I didn't write it down. Sorry, I was trying to deal with this, but there were 3 12-year-old girls that were killed, and I think it was 2 12 and 13-year-old boys and 1 of the teachers. I didn't catch the age, 30 something. Yeah, so there you go. I am going to now start working on writing this story. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to go downtown and get some more pictures and videos if I can find anything. Thank you all for watching. There we go, 39-year-old female teacher. So, all right. So I'm going to go do a bit more work, getting some pictures, maybe talking to people if there's anybody down there. Otherwise, I'll now I'm just going to start writing stuff. I'm probably not going to do too much. Sorry, things are. There's noisy. There's noises. Yeah, I don't know. I'll see how we cover it. I'm trying my best to do this sensitively and not focus on the person who caused the tragedy, but that is a part of the story. So I don't know when they're going to release the names of the victims, or if they are, as most of them were underage. But I don't know. Yeah, so I'm going to start working on actually doing stuff. So I may come back on here later, may not. Thank you for watching the RCMP press conference with me, and I will let you know what's happening later on today. Talk to you later.